everyone. I'm Melissa here, and welcome to your Melissa Moment. Hello, everyone. Melissa here. Welcome to your Melissa Moment, and welcome to Turn the Page Thursday, where we are reading Stephen King's You Like It Darker, which is a book of short stories. We are starting a new story today, and you'll probably notice my environment has changed slightly. I'm in my bedroom today. I've got my daughter is home today, so I thought it'd be a little quieter if we were here. Also, my daughter made me a little Valentine's bookmark. How cute is that? So that's my bookmark that I'm using for our book. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it. I'm not sure how much, but I'm just going to read until I feel like that's a good amount today. You'll have to excuse me. I am getting over a case of pneumonia. So I don't have a ton of energy today. So let's just start and see how far we get. The story is called Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream. Let's see what this one's about. You guys ready? You got your beverage? Okay. It's a bad dream. Danny's had a few before. Everyone has a nightmare from time to time, but this is the worst one ever. Nothing bad is happening at first, but that doesn't help. The sense of impending doom is so strong, it's an actual taste in his mouth, like sucking on a clump of pennies. He's walking along the shoulder of a dirt road that's been packed and oiled to keep the dust down. It's night. A quarter moon has just risen. To Danny, it looks like a sideways grin or a sneer. He passes a traffic sign reading County Road F. Only the O and the Y have been spray painted over, and uck has been crammed into the right of the F. So the sign now reads Cunt Road Fuck. There are a couple of bullet holes for good measure. There's corn on both sides of the road, not as high as an elephant's eye, but maybe 4 feet, suggesting it's early summer. Country Road F runs dead straight up a mild rise. In Kansas, most rises are mild. At the top is a black bulk of a building that fills Danny with unreasoning horror. Some tin thing is going tinka, tinka, tinka. He wants to stop, wants nothing to do with that square black bulk, but his legs carry him on. There's no stopping them. He's not in control. A breeze gives the corn a bone-like rattle. It's chilly on his cheeks and forehead, and he realizes he's sweating. Sweating in a dream. When he gets to the top of the rise, calling it a crest would just be stupid. There's enough light to see the sign on the cinder block building reads Hilltop Texaco. In front are 2 cracked concrete islands where gasoline pumps once stood. The tinka, tinka, tinka sound is coming from rusty signs on a pole out front. One reads, regular, $1.99. One reads, mid, $2.19. And the one on the bottom reads, high test, $2.49. Nothing here to worry about, Danny thinks. Nothing here to be afraid of. And he's not worried. He's not afraid. Terrified is what he is. Tinka, tinka, tinka goes the signs advertising long gone gas prices. The big office window is broken, ditto the glass in the door, but Danny can see weeds growing up around the shards reflecting the moonlight and knows that it's been a while since they were broken. The vandals, bored country kids, most likely, have had their fun and moved on. Danny moves on too, around the side of the abandoned station. Doesn't want to, has to. He's not in control. Now he hears something else, scratching and panting. I don't want to see this, he thinks. If spoken aloud, the thought would have come out as a moan. He goes around the side, kicking a couple of empty motor oil cans, Havoline, the Texaco brand, out of his way. There's a rusty metal trash barrel, overturned and spilling more cans and Coors bottles and whatever paper trash hasn't blown away. Behind the station, there's a mangy mongrel dog digging at the oil-stained earth. It hears Danny and looks around, its eyes silver circles in the moonlight. It wrinkles back its snout and gives a growl. But that can mean only one thing. Mine, mine. That's not for you, Danny says, thinking I wish it wasn't for me either, but I think it is. The dog lowers its haunches as if to spring, but Danny's not afraid. Not of the mutt, anyway. He's a town man these days, but he grew up in rural Colorado where there were dogs everywhere, and he knows an empty threat when he faces one. He bends and picks up an empty oil can. The dream's so real, so detailed. He can feel the scrime of leftover grease down the side. He doesn't even have to throw it. Raising it is enough. The dog turns tail and leaves at a limping run, either something wrong with one of its back legs or a split pad on one of its paws. Danny's feet carry him forward. He sees that the dog has scratched a hand and part of a forearm out of the ground. Two of the fingers have been stripped to the bone. The fleshy part of the palm is also gone, now in the dog's belly. Around the wrist, inedible, and thus of no use to a hungry dog, is a charm bracelet. Danny draws in a breath and opens his mouth and screams himself awake, sitting bolt upright in bed, a thing he's never done before. Thank God he lives alone, so there's no one to hear it. At first he doesn't even know where he is. That derelict gas station seems like the reality. The morning light coming in through the curtains, the dream. He's even rubbing his hands on the Royals t-shirt he went to bed still wearing to wipe off the oil that was on the side of the Havoline can he picked up. There's goose flesh from one end of his body to the other. His balls are drawn up tight as walnuts. Then he registers his bedroom and realizes none of that was real, no matter how real it seemed. He strips off the t-shirt, drops his boxers, and heads into the trailer's tiny bathroom to shave and shower off the dream. The good thing about the bad ones, he thinks as he lathers his face, is that they never last long. Dreams are like cotton candy. They just melt away. Only this one doesn't melt. It retains its clarity in the shower, and while he dresses in a clean set of Dickies and attaches his keyring to his belt loop, and while he drives to the high school in his old Toyota pickup, which still runs good even though it's going to turn back to all zeros again pretty soon, maybe by this fall. The student and faculty parking lots of Wilder High are almost completely empty because school let out some weeks earlier. Danny goes around the back and parks in the usual place, at the end of the school bus line. There's no sign saying it's reserved for the head custodian, but everyone knows it's his. This is his favorite time of year, when you can do work and it stays done, at least for a while. A waxed hallway floor will still shine a week from now, even 2 weeks. You can scrape the gum off the floors in the boys' and girls' locker rooms. The girls are the worst offenders when it comes to gum. He doesn't know why. And not have to do it again until August. Freshly washed windows don't pick up adolescent fingerprints. As far as Danny's concerned, summer vacation is a beautiful thing. There are summer classes at Hinkle High, 1 county over, where there are 3 full-time janitors. They can have it, as far as Danny's concerned. He has a couple of summer employment kids. The good one, Jesse Jackson, is just punching in when Danny enters the supply room. There's no sign of the other one, who, in Danny's opinion, isn't worth a hill of beans. Hill, he thinks. Hilltop, Texaco. Where's Pat? Jesse shrugs. He's a black kid, tall and slim, moves well, built for baseball and basketball, not football. Dunno. His car's not here yet. Maybe he decided to start the weekend a day early. That would be a bad idea, Danny thinks, but guesses Pat Grady's the kind of boy who might have all sorts of bad ideas. We're going to wax the rooms in the new wing. Start with room 12, move all the desks to one side, stack them up 2 by 2, then go to 10 and repeat. I'll follow along with the buffer. If Pat decides to show up, have him help you. Yes, Mr. Coughlin. No Mr. needed, kiddo. I'm just Danny. Think you can remember that? Jesse grins. Yes, sir. No, sir, either. Off you go. Unless you want a coffee first to get you cranking. Had one at the total coming in. Good for you. I need to check something in the library and then I'll get going too. Want me to get the buffer out? Danny grins. He could get to like this kid. Are you bucking for a raise? Jesse laughs. Not likely. Good. Here in Wilder County, it's RR. Republicans rule, and they keep a tight grip on the purse strings. Sure, get the buffer and roll it on down to 12. Keep meaning to ask if you're by any chance named after the other Jesse Jackson, the famous one. Yes, sir. I mean, Danny. You'll get there, kid. I have faith in you. Danny takes his thermos of coffee down to the library, another benefit of summer vacation. He turns on one of the computers and uses the librarian's code to unlock it. The passcode the kids use blocks anything resembling porn, also access to social media. With Mrs. Golden's, you can go anywhere. Not that Danny is planning on visiting Pornhub. He opens Firefox and types in Hilltop, Texaco. His finger hovers over the enter button. Then he adds County Road F for good measure. The dream is just as clear now as it was when he woke up. It's bugging him. Actually, scaring him just a little, even with morning sunlight streamed in through the windows. And finding nothing will, he hopes, put paid to it. He pushes the button, and a second later, he's looking at a gray cinder block building. In this photo, it's new instead of old, and the Texaco sign is spandy clean. The glass in the office window and door is intact. The gas pumps sparkle. The price on the sign say it's $1.09 for regular and $1.21 for mid-grade. There was apparently no high test to be had at Hilltop, Texaco when this picture was taken, which must have been a long time ago. The car at the pumps is a boat of a Buick, and the road out front is 2-lane blacktop instead of oiled dirt. Danny thinks the Buick must have rolled off the line in Detroit around 1980. County Road F is the town of Gunnell. Danny has never heard of it, but that's not surprising. Kansas is big, and there must be hundreds of tiny towns he's never heard of. For all he knows, Gunnell might be across the state line in Nebraska. The hours of operation are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Pretty standard for gas 'em up out in the country. Below the hours in red is one word: closed. Danny looks at this dream made real with a dismay so deep it's almost fear. Hell, maybe it is fear. All he wanted was to make sure Hilltop Texaco and the hand sticking out of the ground, don't forget the hand, was just some bullshit his sleeping mind created. And now look at this. Just look at it. Well, I've been by it at some time or another, he reasons. That's it. Gotta be. Didn't I read somewhere that the brain never forgets anything, just stores the old trivia away on the back shelves? He searches for more info about the Hilltop Texaco and finds none. Only Hilltop Bakery in Des Moines, Hilltop Subaru in Danvers, Massachusetts, and 4011 other hilltops, including a petting zoo in New Hampshire. In each of these, a line has been drawn through Texaco County Road F, showing that part of his search parameter hasn't been met. Why would there be more info anyway? It's just a gas station somewhere out in the Willywags, what his dad used to call East Overshoe. A Texaco franchise that went broke, maybe back in the 90s. Above his main selection are a few other options: news, videos, shopping, and images. He clicks on images and sits back in his chair, more dismayed than ever by what comes up. There are plenty of photos showing various hilltops, including 4 of the Texaco. The first is a duplicate of the one on the main page. But in another, the gas station stands deserted, pumps gone, windows busted, trash scattered around. This is the one he visited in his dream, the very one. There can be no doubt about it. The only question is whether or not there's a body buried in the oil-soaked earth behind it. I'll be dipped in shit. It's all Danny can think of to say. He's a 36-year-old man, high school graduate, but no college diploma, divorced, no kids, steady worker, Royals fan, Chiefs fan. Keeps out of the bars after a spell of bad drinking that led, partially at least, to his split with Marjorie. He drives an old pick-em-up, works his hours, collects his pay, enjoys the occasional binge out on Netflix, visits his brother Stevie every now and then, doesn't follow the news, has no politics, has no interest in psychic phenomena. He's never seen a ghost, finds movies about demons and curses a waste of time, and wouldn't hesitate to stroll through a graveyard after dark if it provided a shortcut to where he's going. He doesn't attend church, doesn't think about God, doesn't think about the afterlife, takes this life as it comes, has never questioned reality. He's questioning it this morning. Plenty. The blat of a car with a bad muffler, or none at all, startles him out of a state that's close to hypnosis. He looks up from the screen and sees an old Mustang pulling into the student parking lot. Pat Grady, his other summer helper, has finally decided to grace the Wilder High custodial staff with his presence. Danny looks at his watch and sees it's 7:45. Keep your temper, he thinks, getting up. This is good advice to self, because his temper has gotten him in trouble before. It's why he spent a night in jail and why he quit the drinking. As for the marriage, that would have ended anyway, although it might have limped along for another year or two. He goes to the door at the end of the new wing. Jessie has indeed brought down the buffer and is busy moving and stacking desks in room 12. Danny tips him a wave and Jessie tips him one right back. Pat is ambling toward the door. No worries, no problem. In jeans, a cut-off tee, and a Wilder Wildcats hat turned around backward. Danny is there to greet him. He's got a firm grip on his temper, but the boy's who gives a fuck attitude bugs him. and those motorcycle boots he's wearing are apt to leave scuff marks. "Hey, Dan, what's up?" "You're late," Danny says. "That's what's up. Punch-in's 7:30. It's now pushing 8 o'clock. Sorry about that." Pat gives him a "my bad" shrug and glides past him, jeans riding low on his hips. This is the third time. Pat turns back. His lazy little smile is gone. "Overslept. Forgot to set my phone alarm. What can I say?" "Here's what I say. Punch in late again, and you're all gone. Got it?" "Are you shitting me? For being 20 minutes late? Last Wednesday it was half an hour. And no, I shit you not. Punch in and help Jesse move desks in the new wing." "The teacher's pet," Pat says, rolling his eyes. Danny doesn't reply, knowing anything he says at this point will be the wrong thing. His summer work kids are being paid by the school department. Danny doesn't want to say or do something that will allow Pat Grady or his folks to go to the superintendent with a grievance about how he was hassled on the job. So he's not going to call Pat a lazy little twerp. Probably he doesn't have to. Pat sees it on his face and turns toward the supply room to punch in, hitching at his jeans with one hand. Danny doesn't know if Pat is holding the other hand to his chest with the middle finger stuck out, but wouldn't be surprised. That kid will be gone by July, Danny thinks, and I've got other things to worry about, don't I? Jesse is standing in the doorway of room 12. Danny gives him a shrug. Jesse gives a cautious grin and goes back to moving desks. Danny plugs in the buffer. When Pat comes back from punching in at that same lazy amble, Danny tells him to get busy moving desks in room 10. He thinks if Pat says a single wise-ass thing, he'll fire him on the spot. But Pat keeps his mouth shut. Maybe not entirely stupid, after all. Danny keeps his phone in the glove box of his Tundra, so he won't be tempted to look at it during working hours. He's seen both Pat and Jesse doing exactly that. Jesse only once, Pat several times. When they knock off for lunch, he goes out to his truck long enough to look up the town of Gunnell. It's in Dart County, 90 miles north. Not over the Nebraska line, but butting up against it. He could swear he's never been in Dart County his whole life. Not even as far north as Republic County. But he must have been at some point. He tosses his phone back in the glove box and heads to where Jesse is eating his lunch, phone in hand, at one of the picnic tables in the shade of the gymnasium. "Forgot to lock your truck. No beep." Danny grins. "Anyone who steals from it, good luck, and welcome to what they get. Plus, the truck itself has eaten her share of road. Got almost 200,000 miles on the clock. Bet you love it, though. My dad loves his old Ford quarter-ton." "I sorta do. Seen Pat?" Jesse shrugs. "Probably eating in his car. He loves that old musty. I think he should take better care of it, but that's just me. We gonna finish the new wing?" "Gonna give it a try," Danny says. "If we don't, there's always Monday." That night, he calls his ex, a thing he does from time to time. He even went down to Wichita for her birthday in April, brought her a scarf, blue, to match her eyes, and stayed for cake and ice cream with her new guy. He and Margie get along a lot better since they split. Sometimes Danny thinks that's a shame. Sometimes he thinks it's just the way it should be. They talk a little bit, this and that. People they know, her mother's glaucoma, and how Danny's brother is doing at his job. Fabulous. And then he asks if they ever drove north, maybe over into Nebraska, maybe to Franklin or Beaver City. Didn't they have lunch one time in Beaver City? She laughs. Not quite her old mean laugh, the one that used to drive him crazy, but close. I never would have gone to Nebraska with you, Dano. Ain't Kansas boring enough? You're sure? Posalute, Margie says, then tells him she thinks Hal, her new guy, is going to pop the question pretty soon. Would he come to the wedding? Danny says he would. She asks if he's taking care of himself, meaning is he still off the booze. Danny says he is, tells her to look both ways before crossing the street, an old joke between them, and hangs up. Never would have gone to Nebraska with you, Dano, she said. Danny has been to Lincoln a couple of times and Omaha once, but those towns are east of Wilder, and Gunner is dead north. Yet he must have been there and just forgot it. Maybe back in his drinking days. Except he never drove when he was out and out shit-faced, afraid of losing his license or maybe hurting someone. I was there. Must have been. Back when that county road was still tarvy instead of packed dirt. He stays up later than usual and tosses around quite a bit before finally dropping off, afraid the dream will come back. It doesn't. But the next morning, it's as clear as ever. Deserted gas station, half moon, stray dog, hand, charm bracelet. Starting chapter 6. I think we're going to leave it there for today. This one is going to probably last us a couple weeks, guys. It's pretty long. It's really long. So we're going to leave it on chapter 6. Already, I'm liking it better than the last story. We've got some substance here. We've got some good backstory on things. What do you think so far? Think this one's going to end in aliens again? Possibly. I don't know. My theory. I guess we'll wait and see. But I have a feeling, wouldn't it be interesting if there really was a body there? And what if Danny is the murderer? Guess we'll have to wait and see till next week. Thanks, guys, for watching, listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.